Miracle Mile night here at Club Menangle, and I'm catching up with some Miracle Mile history in Rex hocking. Firstly, Rex, welcome.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Big night, great crowd we're getting here already for the 2023, I've got to get it right, version of the Miracle Mile. One, you'd be excited to be here on a night like tonight with such a great card of horses racing?
Oh, very excited. Just reliving a lot of memories and seeing how far the Miracle Mile has come from 1954 to now and so forth. Sorry, it was 74 to now and so forth, and to see the calibre of the horses nowadays and so forth. And a real eye opener again.
One of the reasons we're here in 1973, you took out the Miracle Mile. He took out it's okay, but that's fine with Reichman. But 50 years ago, and it's great that the club have got you here. And I can say it, they pay me a wage to promote them, but I think it's awesome that they actually remembering the history. Must be great for you that they made the phone call and asked you to come along and be a part of tonight's events.
That's right. Yeah, I was very excited when I got the phone call, and I thought, it's going to be too hard. We've got a bit of age on us now and getting up here and a few things like that, but our family said, no, you've got to go, Dad, and so forth. And so we made the effort to come up here. So we flew to Adelaide drove to Adelaide Thursday, flew up here on Friday, and then we're heading back on Sunday. And then I've got Australian Yard Dog Championships on next week in Victoria. So yes, I'm into sheep dogs, yard dog trialling, and National Kelby trials. So,
we might end up on that in a minute, but we'll actually just at the minute we've even got a crowd coming in to watch us. We're definitely glad we came in here. It is beautiful. The wall out the back here, I encourage people to come and have a look. It's amazing how Menangle are remembering the past and the history, and the Miracle Mile, especially that wall along there, some of the greats up the top, but every winner underneath, and it's just terrific, isn't it?
It is fantastic how they have put the effort in to retain the history and keep people's minds what happened in years ago and so forth, and how it's changed. It has changed a lot in 50 years. Like the Miracle Mile was worth $35,000, I think, the year I won it, and this year it's $1 million. And even just in the trotting, the different harness they use now and different bikes and all that. So talking to Darren earlier today and so forth, and he enlightened us on a lot of new things that's come in. Yeah, it's great.
$30,000, though, I would imagine back in 1973 would have been life-changing?
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, exactly. Yes, very much so, yes, for our family and so forth. Gave us a real boost to kick along and so forth, yeah. And that's
get you going. Right, Reichman is the horse we're talking about, and he's got an amazing record, and we will get onto that in a minute. But when did it start for you and he? Like, you had quite a few, you always had a good horse around you and the likes, but this bloke, when did you say to yourself one day, hey, this one might be the one?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I broke him in and so forth, and got him in the hobbles and so forth. And I think it was while visiting relations up in Queensland, in-laws and so forth. And Dad was working him, and he just took him. The track was too muddy and that, and he just took him out the road one day, and he sort of let him go. And he thought, gee, this horse is a bit special. And when I came home, he said, this horse can run a bit and so forth. And that, so it was So Dad was pricked his ears up pretty early and so forth, because we bred him ourselves. We had Chief Spring, the sire, and Remination. Yeah.
So you stood the stallion yourself?
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. We bought the stallion from Chief Spring from Normans in Adelaide, old name over there, and they had a lot of well-bred horses. And Chief Spring was a great horse, yeah, and that. So,
can I just take you back a touch? Yeah. So when Dad drove him, he hadn't raced?
No, he hadn't raced at all when my father drove him out, and that. My father didn't ever drive in races. We'd done a lot of the training and so forth and that.
So you obviously showed, though, a lot. I'll get on to that last bit. I was going to go to the end bit, but we won't at the minute. His race record when he started, I mean, he's got quite a couple of unique little quirks that I reckon a lot of the younger people watching this are going to go, wow, that's a bit interesting. Yeah. But how was he as an early horse? Did he race as a 2-year-old, or was he a little bit later coming?
Yeah, he didn't race as a 2-year-old. He had a bit of a funny stifle. You'd train him and you'd work him fast, and he'd come back and you could see his leg was locking and that. So we put him out, and he never raced as a 2-year-old. And then he raced as a late 3-year-old, and we took him to Horsham, I think, there and that. And Dad was a bit keen on the punt and so forth and that. And he said, I didn't draw very well. I think, it was 13 or 14 or something, but it didn't really matter. And that, so, but I just sat at the tail of the field and just went around where I wanted to and just kept going. And that's where it started. And everybody from then on said, where's this fella been? Yeah.
I can show my age.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be watching this and they'll be saying, well, that's nothing special at Horsham. It's this big, spacious track, no different to Menangle.
Yeah.
It's cup and saucer. Was it 700 metres? It was very, very tight. I remember around the showgrounds. There's a greyhound track that only just fits inside it.
That's right, yeah, a very tight track, yes, and very tight turns, and it's pretty rough and rugged track. They wouldn't have a drag; they dragged it with harrows, and so forth. But it was a great little track. We had a lot of great times there. And the other track that he raced well on was Hamilton, and that was built. It was a new track, and it was cambered and so forth. That was a great track, and won quite a few races there.
It was ahead of its time, that old track, not the track that they race on now, but that was a very, very good track, that track at Hamilton. A lot of people used to travel long ways because you could win from anywhere. It was a very fair track, wasn't it?
Right, true, yes, yeah. It was a new sort of track. It was the turns were very big and spacious, and you come from behind and that. So yes, yeah. Reichman, he only won one 3-year-old off the front, and then he handicapped. And I think he ran about 4 races, and the last one was off 48 yards against a very good horse. I just can't think what it was now, but anyhow, just caught the field and just went round and just kept running. Yeah, and that because he used to like to get up and run. Yeah,
he'd like to get going. The story, the notes that I was given from Peter before we came on here said that he ran a slashing race in a Hunter Cup, and then basically you decided that you'd bring him to the Miracle Mile. Now he contested the 1972 Miracle Mile where he ran second. So was that when you decided to bring him here that first time, or was it the second time after his Hunter Cup run?
Yes, no, it was just after the Hunter Cup, and then we got an invite to bring him up, and and then he ran a terrific race, but Bayfoyle sat on my back, and the horse in the death seat, just can't think which one, just dropped off in the turn, and I just didn't have enough kick left in me, but I didn't let him run his full potential. I sort of had good hold of him all the way, and I should have let him run a bit more, but never mind. That's you can drive better races sometimes after than during the race. You're
very proud South Australians. I mean, South Australia, Victoria, you've already mentioned there. I think he won in 4 states, Reichman overall. Yeah. But had you been to a Miracle Mile? Like, was 1972, was that your first time you'd been and first time you'd been to New South Wales? First time been to New South Wales racing horses, and first time I'd been to Harold Park, yes. And it was a real eye-opener. Yeah, stayed with Les Chant, who mentored us very well and so forth, yeah. Yes. How young were you? I can't say how old. How young were you back in 1972? 27, yeah. And that's yes, yeah. And must have been a thrill, but also such a great learning curve for you. Oh, tremendous learning curve, and talking to the other trainers up here, and that, because where we lived out in the country, fair way out in the country. You were 5 hours, 500 kilometres from Melbourne, and then we did buy a place at Ballarat. My wife wasn't keeping good health, and she was getting treatment at Ballarat, so we bought a place there, and he helped pay for it, and it was. He done his parts. So you said there before, and we're sort of chopping and changing a little bit, but I want to try and keep on the Miracle Mile field that. In 72, you almost learnt a lesson, if you like, that not letting him run to his full, probably driving a bit pretty. Would that be fair? Yes, exactly. I was very careful. I was very cautious and so forth, and that. But I was told to, don't let him run. Stack the field up a bit. But that was the wrong way to go about it. I should have let him run because some of those other horses couldn't run those times. But I was just holding them. I was holding him back to their speed, and I should have run at my speed. Yeah. Did you leave in 72 saying I'm coming back next year? Like, was that always the goal? Once you left here and you come so close, was it like, right, this is my goal, I'm going to come back here and win this race? Most certainly. We that year we came up to, and we had a big free-for-all at Junee, and Pure Steel and the good horse from Junee and My Gal South run a big free-for-all there, and I led there all the way and won that race, and then I came and raced in Dominion here. I was handicapped again, and I won a heat, went very well, and then in the final, big Rob Allen put his foot through my wheel on the home turn, and I was sitting pretty, and that's, and the Miracle Mile was about a fortnight later, So I said, well, when I'm out there this time, nobody's going to see me, so yeah. So did you find the front again? Did you manage to
Oh,
get
yes,
to lead?
exactly. Yes, yeah. I found the front very easily. Actually, for some reason I don't know. I was drawn out wide, and I got the front very easily. And he was coasting, so I just let him run all the way. Yeah, and he had his ears pricked most of the journey. Yeah, well, he had it all the way, and yeah.
What was your confidence level like when you're going down the back straight? Because I was fortunate enough to drive at Harold Park, but not when they had the crowds over the back straight. I could see the remnants of when they had them. Yeah. How were you going down the back straight with obviously a lap full of horse?
Well, when I went past the winning post with a lap to go, he was just cruising that well and so forth, and I just let him roll, and then halfway around the home turn, I said, I'm going for home, and left him. Yeah.
Can you describe the feeling? Like, is it something that you forget, or can you still remember it?
You never forget those feelings and so forth, and the momentum and what comes with it afterwards, and that it really stays in your brain. Feels like yesterday, actually. Yes, yeah.
When you cross the line, you always have a quiet minute with a horse, and sometimes you don't even think about the horse, but certain races. Yeah. Yourself and Reichman pulling up, was it just an elation for yourself?
Oh, true, you're right there. Yes, yeah, and he was a very clever horse. He knew when he was could run his full potential, and he knew that he'd won, and he knew he'd done his best and so forth, and that. So yeah. And the other interesting quirk with Reichman, he travelled around with a little pony called Barney Burgles. And that, so when we built our stables in Ballarat there, and the girls got a little pony and that, and old Barney had always used to sidle up alongside Rusty and that, and then it was his mate, so when we would take him away to the trots, old Rusty be pouring and carrying on, the pony be squealing at home, so we took him as his travelling companion, and so that was another great side to it, yeah.
What was his name, the pony?
Barney Burgles. Yeah,
Did the girls name him, obviously?
Most definitely, you're right there. Yes, yeah. So no. Even Darren said today he was only a lad then, and he still remember patting Barney Burgles. So yes, yeah, and that's it. You have to rub that one in when you see it. No,
I think that's great. I think those sort of stories are just terrific, and it's what the history, if you like, and the Miracle Mile, 1:58.4. Yeah. That would have been an outstanding time. Was that anywhere near like an Australian record at the time?
Oh, it was an Australian record at the time, most definitely. Yes, yeah, and that's yes, yeah. He still holds the three furlong track record, 1:58, and there's no 3 furlong tracks raced in the world anymore. So he's still got that one in the Guinness Book of Records. So that'll
never be taken from him. So as long that is and again, hats off to Menangle here for what they do, because they're the sorts of little quirks. One for a lot of the younger generation, I suppose, here to think about. 14 starts only over the mile. How many race starts did he have all up?
70 odd race starts. No.
But that doesn't matter. But he only was only able to have 14 of those. Yes, yeah. 10 of those he won. Yes, yeah, 3 seconds, including one of those in a Miracle Mile, and one of those is a win in a Miracle Mile. Yeah. Do you watch the modern TV now and you think, oh, wouldn't it be nice just to have him? I mean, everyone says, oh, they wouldn't be able to keep up. But I reckon that's rubbish. I think if a horse can go 58 back then, right, he would love it. Would you enjoy watching this mile racing now when you've got a horse like Reichman?
Oh, heavens, yeah, you're right there, yes. Yeah. And that's when Reichman was winning those races, they said they were only sprinters, they weren't stayers, but they are stayers because they've got to run flat out all the way, yeah, and that's and at a speed, above normal horse speed.
Well, you just said it there before. In 72, you left a little bit in everyone's tanks. Yes. So the next year, you make it a true staying race. Even though it's not over this 2,800 or 3,200, it is over that short. That's what you've done. You've gassed. This is a staying race now, and you've programmed, sort of got him ready for it on the day. Yeah. Did you come back in 74?
Come back.
Did you come back to defend his title the next year?
Yes, yeah. Came back the next year and I only run fourth, and I drew out wide again, and I just missed the start a bit, and he was getting a bit of age on him, and he just missed the kick by a length, and then I got back in the middle of the field, and that's about where I stayed. Yeah.
So now you filled in one blank for me. So he's had 14 starts, 10 wins, 3 seconds, and the 4th was in the Miracle Mile as well. So I mean, that's an amazing mile record that he's actually got. That is enormous. How did he live out his days? Did he stay with you guys afterwards?
Oh, most definitely. He lived around the house, the back paddock of the house and so forth, and lived his days out there, and he's buried on a little hill behind the house.
Still got a very special spot in your house. Can you describe what it means? Like, there's going to be someone coming home tonight that's going to be the Miracle Mile champion, maybe a return champion, maybe a first-time champion. Can you describe how it changes you?
Oh, it changes your attitude, your life, your mental skills, and everything, and so forth. You know, you can prove you've done something, and it's been it was all our own work. It was all our family. You know, it was family involved because it was three brothers that owned it, the horse and that, and then Hartley was always helped, and all the family helped in right through, and that was a big family effort, and it was great for the family also. Yeah,
I think the story of him and his racing story is terrific. But you've thrown a couple of little chestnuts in there that you had the mare yourself. Did you race his mum?
No.
Just had
bought her. It was during the drought in '67 drought, and the lady that owned it needed money to feed the horse, and they said, "Well, you might as well, start feeding the horse hay. You might as well sell it." And somebody said, "There's a good old well-bred brood mare for sale," and that, and then we bought it for about £70. That's right, true, yeah.
And then you've had to stay in. So you say about a family effort with all your immediate family, but you've also got this whole family of breeding.
That's right.
And so the achievement, I mean, it's only you and him out on the track. You've let him keep running, but the achievement from a whole family, I think that part is something enormous. And I hope you realise. I think it's a great story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's and all our cousins were involved and so forth. And they always had a big following, and they were always and that's. But Dad had a big V8 Chrysler Royal, and he'd fill that up with cousins and friends, and off to the trots and so forth, and travel all over the place. Yeah.
Rex, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. A little bit of history, and I hope some people appreciate it. It is awesome. It's great to have you here at Menangle, but it's great to hear some of the stories about this horse, and I might sit down one day with you. We might even have a much longer one when we've both got a bit of time and sit there about the whole Hocking family and the dynasty that you guys have left in the industry. But thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you enjoy yourself tonight, and there'll be a 2023 champion being crowned. This will go up after that, but thank you very much for joining me.
Right, okay. Thank you very much, Paul. Much appreciated, and I'd like to do that extended interview one day for the, from right from the start and the family and so forth. And
thank you.
It would mean a lot.
Thank you very much.
Mate. Good.